One of the hardest bugs I've ever had to fix had absolutely nothing to do with my code. Let's talk about it. I'm 2 years in to my role as a software engineer at Lockheed Martin. And at that exact moment, I was asked by my boss to get involved in a project to upgrade the test stations used by teams throughout the factory to perform aircraft integration testing. Now, to give you a sense of what these test stations look like, I want you to imagine a tall enclosure that's around 7 feet in height with wheels on the bottom that you can use to push it anywhere in the plant that you want. And in that enclosure, mounted on that enclosure, are two monitors, one on top of each other. One monitor is used to display instrumentation data from a targeting sensor, and the other is where the aircraft simulator runs. There's also a pull-out tray where you could put a keyboard and mouse, and on the bottom of the enclosure is two shelves where the server hardware that powers everything resides. Now, the plan was to swap out the servers in exchange for two brand new servers that included a new operating system and new hardware that needs to interface with the sensors. But there was one big problem with that plan. And the problem was there's internal software, desktop applications that my team maintains that no longer were compatible with the new hardware on these servers. So it was therefore my job to upgrade the applications to interface with the new hardware. So there I was in my cubicle upstairs in the building. And I just received an email from one of my coworkers with the new hardware drivers that the application needs to interface with. So I looked at the drivers, I looked at documentation, and I proceeded to upgrade the applications to use them. Something that I've done hundreds of times as a software developer at this point in my career. When I'm done, I compiled the applications into binary executables, loaded it on a thumb drive, and went downstairs into the lab where someone was already retrofitting one of the test stations to the new hardware. As I'm walking in, the systems engineer just finished making the upgrades. I spoke to him for a couple of minutes, learned anything I need to know about the new hardware. And as soon as he leaves, I boot up this targeting sensor, and I sit down in front of the test stations, put my thumb drive into the computers, and I proceeded to do my work. And within, I wouldn't say about an hour, I've tested everything that I could possibly think of, and it worked without any significant problems. So I go back upstairs, I go over my computer, pull up the Outlook, and I start typing a message to everyone in the team that everything's all good, is now approved for testing to be used. A couple of days later, I started getting reports from engineers in the department of issues, random freezing, locking up of the applications, and then not all the time, but occasionally, blue screens of death. So, hearing that, I opened up my Outlook, look at the calendar, blocked off some time on the shared calendar to go down to the lab to do some investigations. And I spent probably around a week looking at my implementation, looking at the code, trying to figure out what's causing this to happen. And one of the things I didn't mention before about this error is that it's not only was it the applications were freezing and blue screening, causing blue screens, but it was also happening intermittently, as in randomly, at no discernible pattern. Sometimes it'll happen within 5 minutes of you running the applications. Sometimes your application will run for a couple hours and it will be fine. And I was at a loss. So I would do what any reasonable person would do at this moment, and that was to ask for help. So I turned to my colleagues, the other software engineers on the team, who I will actually add, I'm actually the youngest person on the team, a team of seasoned engineers who have been working at the company for 10 to 15 to 20 years. So I turned to them for help. And they were at a loss too. They didn't know what to do. Couldn't figure out the issue as well. They were just as clueless as I was. So what did we do next? Well, we turned to the vendor, the hardware vendor. Maybe perhaps they would know. They would see it's something that we're doing wrong with this implementation. And within a couple weeks, they've sent over a sales engineer to look at our solution, our implementation. And after that day, I wanted to scream. Because the one moment that I wanted it to fail, I wanted my code to fail, it decided to play nice. And at this time, I'm sitting in front of the test stations. Right next to me is the sales engineer that was sent. And I'm being there for all hours, the whole day, sitting here waiting for this system to fail. And it was decided to chirp along, work perfectly fine, no problems. The engineer is just sitting here, just looking at his watch, looking at his phone. And I'm saying, well, and in my head I was like, oh, come on, man, come on, fail. So yeah, it's funny because this usually happens already. It usually fails already. I was like, come on, man, come on, you piece of crap, fail, please fail. So it failed yesterday. I promise you, it failed yesterday. Come on, man, please fail, please. You weren't able to reproduce the problem in front of them. At this point, it's been several months. I've been trying to investigate this problem, and I am angry because I want to do work on other projects, and this stupid application is preventing me from doing anything else. At this point, I started worrying if this is going to be my entire career, just working on this dumb problem, this dumb bug that no one can figure out. And I started just getting angry whenever I hear new reports from people about this issue. I nearly bit one of my colleagues' head off when he came to me in front of my computer, my cubicle one morning with the problem, with observation that he saw when he was using the applications. He came over, said, "Oh, Daryl, I actually used the test station equipment." Like, what? I know! I got it! One day, I was reading a book by someone named David J. Agans. It's called The 9 Rules of Debugging, which I'm probably saying wrong. I'll probably put a link or image somewhere so you can view the proper naming of this book. And in that book, I was reading a passage. And that passage said, if you're dealing with an intermittent failure, which is something I was dealing with, the only way to actually fix it is to make it fail. You need to figure out how to make it fail. That's the only way you'll know whether you've actually fixed it or not, by making it fail. That changed reading that passage changed the game for me. So now I started thinking, okay, well, how can I make this fail? What are some of the things can I do to make this fail? So I spent the next several hours rethinking the entire system, trying to analyze the entire system by first principles, isolating the issues that I've been seeing down to its main components. And within a couple of hours, I was able to find the real cause of the issue. And it had nothing to do with my code. It had to do with the vendor's driver. It turned out it was actually a faulty missed interrupt in their driver that was causing the lockups and blue screens that could not be seen. No one could see it because it had to be, it was produced in a particular way, in a particular combination of software and hardware. But I was able to take this system and the system that I built, and I sent it over, provide that information to the vendor, and they were able to look at it and devise a solution that fixed these problems. And at that moment, when I actually saw the solution, I realized one thing. It made me realize one thing. When it comes to trying to solve a problem that you have and you're stumped, the cause of the problem is often not where you think. It's somewhere else. This is exactly something that I see whenever I look at AI systems. Whenever I hear stories about teams struggling with issues like hallucinations or inconsistent outputs, they think that the cause of the issue is with the AI model. But oftentimes, it has little to do with the AI model. It has something to do with the system itself, the data you provide the AI model, or the system's architecture, or some unique way your system is behaving in the real world production environment. And if you're not careful, if you can't carefully diagnose, if you're not able to carefully diagnose these issues, you end up spending a lot of time tweaking different things, and it's not leading you anywhere close to resolution of the issue. Which is why I help teams figure out their issues. I help teams find the real cause of some of these issues that they're facing, so they don't have to suffer. And the way I do that is I provide something what I call an AI System Diagnostic. If you are suffering from a problem, or trying to have an issue that you just can't resolve, or you're thinking of building up a solution, you have a solution in place, but you're not sure about it, you want a second opinion on what are some of the things that you might be missing, what are some of the issues that you need to be careful of, you need to be mindful of. I can look at your system and I'll analyze it, and I'll actually tell you what's the true cause of the problems that you're facing. So if that's something that you might be interested in, or you want to find out more about it, send me a message and let's chat.